Hello and welcome to Wise Women Podcasting for empaths, lightworkers, star seeds, and healers who are ready to join a like-minded community. Our purpose is to innovate, grow, and become universal change makers. Hi, everyone. My name is Shannon Gorton, and I'm an intuitive mindset energy coach, and I mentor heart-centered, creative, and wise women cultivate balance, abundance, and harmony with ease, purpose, and fun. And today, I am here with my partner, Fiona Waddell. And Fiona Waddell is an amazing abundance flow coach. And Fiona and I have known each other for about a year now, and we've had some really great ideas for bringing some light into the world in our own way by sharing our gifts and our talents. And I keep saying partner, and in the sense I mean like accountability partner, pod partner. We're business buddies, like besties, and we do share all things metaphysical and different modalities. And today we're going to be talking about daily self-care of the mind. And this is episode number 3 for us. So be sure to catch the other recordings on YouTube. That's where we have our Wise Women podcasting platform. And I would like to correct and say that I misspoke. Fiona's a money flow accelerator, and she's she's a psychic.
I'm like,
And
she's on.
so amazing. I just love Fiona, and I could talk about Fiona's greatness like forever and a day. But I'm gonna hand it over to Fiona because I get wordy when I get nervous. Go ahead, Fiona.
Yeah, I call myself a money flow coach, but I'm also a psychic intuitive, and I help healers and coaches tap into their financial abundance and create amazing, successful businesses with ease. That's it, really helping wonderful healers and coaches get out of their own way and be successful. Because more money in the hands of healers and coaches and women, oh my gosh, the world is such a better place. So yeah, that's me. So today we are talking about mind or mindset and daily practices, right? This is such a huge topic. We could literally talk all day about mindset because that's totally in the metaphysical realm. That's like our jam. So yeah, grab a cup of tea, sit down, listen to us, or grab a notepad, whatever, or continue your wonderful daily walk. And we're going to chat about mindset. So when I think about mind and mindset for daily self-care practices, I really think about really protecting ourselves and raising our vibe. How about you? What do you think about, like, when you think about self-care practices?
I agree with you, Fiona. I definitely, I think my biggest nemesis is my ego as far as my mindset. Getting my mindset sorted out begins every day with quieting that voice of my ego. Exactly. Sometimes it's really overwhelming, and it feels like that. And like I've been doing this for years, for a long time, and it's not always the same. Like there can be different days I'm feeling, a little quirky as far as my balance with my ego, or not aligning like I would like to with my authenticity, because I've got this like little negative tick going on in my head, like, oh, you're not worth it. Who do you think you are, right? Yeah.
Book.
Let's see.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, negative voice.
Mm.
It was a difficult book for me to read, but to really hone in on what that negative voice is, just we're going off script here, is here we go.
That's
Fiona
okay.
talking again. The Untethered Soul. I
Mm.
read that book for my Reiki master teacher training, and every single one of us in the course was like, oh. It was a difficult book to read. It didn't flow for any of us, but we all understood and tapped into the idea that we have created this personality, this negative voice in our head, and we listen to that more than we listen to ourselves, right? This
Ooh.
negative, and it's the
Mhm.
ego. Yeah, the untethered soul. I'd recommend audiobook. Might make it easier, but very, very potent, clear example of that negative voice, that ego that we all create from a young age. So yeah.
I agree with you. I think when I like talk about it or think about it, what comes to mind for myself is the that ego is in the driver's seat and not my
Mm,
intuition, because my intuition is like really connected to my mind, my heart, and my soul. That's who I am. My authentic self, my aligned self is not in ego. It's from heart-centered space, and the
yeah.
ego is from the head space. So it's challenging at times. Especially we get triggered.
Yeah, well, yeah, the ego, that voice is in the head, but our intuition, it's like a full body feel.
Mhm,
Like an intuition, you feel it in your gut, you feel it in your heart, and you just feel like, yes.
mhm.
And you feel good with your intuition. Meanwhile, your ego makes your head heavy.
Literally.
You always, you get negative, you look down. So yeah, yeah. So I'm with you on that, the ego. And a lot of people don't, they think the ego is something like from Jung, like id and ego and the I, thou, and get totally philosophical. But the ego is just really negativity and fear.
Mhm. It's evolved over time.
Yeah.
And I like to think of like whatever you give attention to grows or expands.
Mm,
Um, and so like, and if you're gonna listen to that voice in your head about the fear, about not being worthy, not being deserving, that can really like escalate and take over your mindset. Excuse me, and it can really kind of skew your energy for the day if you let it. But if you
yeah.
notice it and you can kind of like reframe it quickly, um, and make a practice of that, it can like change it for you rather quickly.
Yeah.
But it's being mindful of your
Yeah. That
mindset.
mindfulness. It's like, yeah, I picture the ego very much as like a bag of angry bees, you
Oh,
know,
that's a good
and
one. Yeah.
you got to keep it under wraps. Like people think, when your ego and your mindset and your mind runs amok, not a monk, amok,
You run them up
it,
too.
um, here we go. Um, it, it affects your body. It affects your spirit. So people leave the mind to like the last bit. But in my experience, I worked in the fitness industry for 10 years. And I had to leave it because as much as I was working on people's bodies, their body was sick because, or they had issues with their body because of their mind and their spirit. And yet we didn't really address it. My boss is like, lose 5 pounds with your clients and do this for your clients. And they want to look this way and fit in that dress. And I'm like, it's not going to
Mm,
happen.
that's
So,
interesting, Fiona. So
yeah.
again, like when we were talking about the body, we noticed that the mind is connected. And I think that's probably why we decided to do this triad of episodes is the body, mind, and soul, because they're so interwoven and connected.
But you need to talk about one separately to recognize how they're interconnected. Like one of the
Mhm.
reasons, and this is a good time of year to talk about it, the reason we're not successful with our goals is not because of our goals. It's our mind to prepare the actions in order to reach the goals. I told you this the other day, like
Mhm.
a winner and a loser both have the same goals. It's just how they got there and how this was. I'm hooked on that darn book, Atomic Habits. I'm living that book right now because it's something I have studied, and I have studied habits and mindset for years, like as a personal trainer, but also as a teacher, teaching ESL, the habit of studying and learning and like in knowledge acquisition. It's the mind is a huge part of it. So
Powerful.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So
It just
yeah,
blows
I'm
me away
with
to
you.
think that we only use 10% of it. Like,
I just picture cobwebs everywhere else. Out of commission, do not enter sign in my brain.
10% who's driving my car.
here we go. We're going off the rails. So let's bring this back a little bit. So yeah, we were talking about mindset and it more or less being the ego and being aware, and it's that awareness and that mindfulness that is key. So what do you do on a daily basis, or what are some things you do, Shannon?
One of the main things is, um, thank you for like reframing us back to alignment. Because I like to meander,
Tangent.
is um affirmations. And at first affirmations, like I was just like, oh no, no, I'm not doing affirmations. No, I'm not. That's silly stuff. There's no valid reason why I would ever want to do an affirmation or a mantra. That's for like um skeptics, unlike myself.
I am perfect.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I use affirmations and mantras daily. Sometimes multiple times a day. Whenever like something will push a button or trigger and it's just like, oh yeah, the ego's kicking in again. Let's go change that mindset.
Mm,
And course correct, if you will, and adjust that as I go. And some days just go along swimmingly. Like my mindset, and it's interesting to notice when that happens, but my mindset just like clicks along, and I'm having a great energy day and it's all flowing. Um, and the more I find myself in that high vibe energy, the happier I am within my
mm,
mindset. Like the ego, it's just like, oh, I haven't heard from that one in a while. And that's why, is because I'm, clicking along on this high vibe track. And I'm thinking like, you take the low road, I take the high road. And I
mm.
think
Good song.
on that energy vortex of where we are, when I'm in alignment, like nothing is bothering me. Like all my problems, if I had any, are like so beneath my energy level right now that I'm not giving them any focus or any thought. So I'm not projecting them into being a pain in the butt.
Mm,
It's like keep it down. Like that energy ego does not vibrate with me whatsoever. And when I'm clicking along, if you will, on a higher vibe trail, it's smooth sailing. And granted, there are hiccups along the way, but I like to think of it as the affirmations, the daily self care of spending time in nature, not just for my body, but for my mind.
mm.
It's peace of mind for me to go out. It's comforting for me to go out and spend time out in nature and, to take a walk or listen to nature, listen to the birds, go sit by a stream or the ocean. It's an amazing reset. But
Just a side note, just
mm,
how like I do guided meditations, you do guided meditation, we write our own material. It's funny how our guided meditations always end up at oceans, streams, forests. We never talk about you're now in your house sitting on the couch in front of the TV
I don't think I've ever led
because
myself or any
we
clients on
need
a
to get out.
meditation. I led to the sofa.
You're in the sofa, you're next to the kitchen with a sink full of dishes.
Oh,
So yeah,
mm,
no, I was listening
amazing.
like you nailed it on the head there with going outside and to get the high vibe, and that's why we do that in guided meditations. It's so important to get our mind and our body outside. I love
Mhm.
that.
How about you? What do you like to do to
Oh,
reset?
good question. I like doing the affirmations too. I was
Hmm.
going to ask you where you get your affirmations from. Mine, once a month, or once, like I say once a month, but I refer to the list. I write out all of my negative ego stuff because I just need to do a
Ooh.
brain dump, a mind dump, all the negative things like I can't be successful because I'm not a size two, which
Mm.
isn't true. And then I rewrite it in positive, saying, I am amazing regardless, or I don't know, regardless is negative still. I'm amazing and I'm successful. Just simple as that. And I rewrite everything into positive. So that's how I get my affirmation statements. And I kind of create them as a purpose for the day. I try to have them around me or I put them on my screensaver. So where do you get your affirmations from? I'm just curious.
Um, so there are a couple people coaches that I like how their energy resonates with where I am at in my journey. Denise Stefan Thomas is one.
Yeah.
Um, I formulate my own because that just works for me at times. Louise Hay has
Oh,
amazing.
yes.
I celebrate Louise Hay all the time. I love that
Yes.
woman. And while she's not here in like the physical realm, like her energy is
Oh, she left a
shining the
footprint.
light for so many amazing people
Yeah.
who touch her work, that come in contact with her work. Yeah. So, and that's the person that softened me toward welcoming and embracing affirmations.
Like,
With
I'm not
Louise
going
Hay,
to do it.
honestly. I know it, I get teary-eyed about it because it was an emotional, like,
Yeah.
I need to give in and make some changes in my life, because if I don't, my health is, my mindset, my health, like all the
Yeah.
things are just crumbling.
Yeah.
So definitely Louise Hay is someone who I look up to for my
So,
affirmation
yeah.
writing.
Yeah, I do that. And I, Denise Duffield Thomas as well. I'm with you on that. Both. Yes. Amen. And another thing I do, and I mentioned to you this earlier, was this is an ongoing practice. A lot of people think that mind daily self-care practices and the mindset happens like in the morning when we journal and such. It's not. For me, it's ongoing throughout the day, like the mindfulness and awareness of the ego. But also I stay away from toxic people in toxic situations, because people, like, I've worked in toxic work environments. It's the job or the people or whatever it may be, they're just low vibe. And I know sometimes you can't leave them. It's like, I'm leaving. That's what I'm working. You can't. So,
Right. As
but
much as we'd like to take leave,
yeah,
just
I'm out of
can't.
here. You can try to find a positive. Like for me, a job I was working
Mhm.
at about 15 years ago, the job itself was painful. It just made me feel horrible. But the people I worked with, I loved. The team was amazing. So I focused on building relationships with the team and I just did the work. And so
Mhm.
I focused on keeping my vibe high, and then I would manifest a better job, which I did. So
Right.
it's finding that silver lining and recognizing something it's toxic so you can do something about it. I think that's key as well. Um,
Interesting that you say that, Fiona, because like really, like we're so used to doing our work and we know that it's ongoing, that it does evolve and shift over time, but there's always going to be that work to do.
yeah.
What about somebody who really feels stuck and like don't feel like they have um the tools, if you will, to change their environment?
For someone who feels stuck, first of all, is recognizing that you are never stuck with the universe. I think that's the first step, knowing that you are never stuck. You feel stuck, but you're not actually stuck.
Mhm.
So just recognizing that you're not alone, I think, is the key, and that there is always going to be someone there to help you. So, like, if you're in a toxic relationship and you can't leave the relationship, for example, then go spend some time with your girlfriends and make sure you schedule time when you're just away from the relationship, or start planning for your future and be grateful for what you do have in the moment. Um, and
Attitude.
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, because I get it. Some people can't get out of certain relationships. Like it could be parental, like
Mhm.
some parents are, unfortunately, or children are toxic, like relatives are toxic. I just don't want to put this on parents. So you can distance yourself, but if you can't
Right.
completely, like if you live in the same space, be grateful for what you have in this space,
Hmm.
focus on manifesting something else, and recognize that their BS, I want to say something else, their BS is their
Clearly the
work.
family show.
It's their journey. It's their journey.
Yeah.
You're not here to do somebody else's work. I think that's the
Oh
key.
my gosh.
Yeah, like if somebody has a very narrow point of view, a very 3D kind of world view, and they're very political and meh, 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 um, and you don't vibe with that, then step away and create your own safe space. reach out and try to make friends and connect with others. Be grateful for what you have and move forward. That you always have the chance to move forward. It's just a matter of figuring out the right time. So that's why I say you're never stuck. It feels like you're stuck because at the moment you're focused on this, but when you recognize there are opportunities and they're coming up to and you start asking for them, they'll show up. So,
Those are really great tips. And like I was making a little notes here because these are really valuable, like genius tips to share. So options could be um, focus on what you are in control of, and that's like
yes.
yourself. Like for me, I'm in control of my actions, my words. So in the case of somebody who's listening to the show, like what are you in control of? What do you control your thoughts and your actions. So mindset is so powerful. If you believe you're stuck, you're gonna be stuck.
Yeah.
But if
That's
you
it.
look at that and you reframe it and you tell yourself a completely different story, I have options. Like
This is
what
my
else?
current situation. What do
Right.
I want?
Right. And it's not gonna, 80% of the time it's not gonna happen in the blink. It could, but it could take a while too,
Well,
depending
I
upon.
disagree with that, that it does take time because you need to heal your mindset. And mindset, you can manifest opportunities quickly,
Hmm.
but it takes time to heal that mind step. So it is two steps forward, one step back when it's to healing your situation.
when let's see, when we're doing the inner work,
Yeah.
that is a multi-step process. That's accurate because
Mm.
you like awareness, like becoming aware that there's something going on, hmm, that may or may not vibe with you. That's a good start.
Yeah. It's like the way I explain it is uh, it's an emotional response. It's that vibration. And that's
Mhm.
why EFT and tapping is so amazing. The emotional freedom technique where you're tapping and because it helps you reduce that emotional response. That's why people are triggered. Triggering means they've had an emotional response to a stimuli or an
Mhm.
event.
Mhm.
So the goal is to reduce that emotional response. You know, so for someone who was in a toxic relationship, and maybe seeing a commercial can be triggering. So the goal is maybe when you see that commercial on TV and you feel like a 9 out of 10. So doing your inner work over time, you can bring it down to a 7 out of 10, and then a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Eventually, the goal is down the line, you see the commercial and you're like, "Meh," and there's
Mhm.
no response. And
Fiona,
that's mind work.
we can do this kind of work with our money stories, right?
Oh, definitely. That's what I do. Um, so like people have the belief that they have to work really hard for their money or they're not worthy of it or being abundant and having money is a bad thing. And they really feel that like a fear or the idea in business where people have to be seen on TV or do YouTube or lives. People are paralyzed with being visible or sharing their message. So like they get like all angsty. That angst is an emotional response. So reducing that is, and that's mind work. It takes time. So because it's normal to be a 10 out of 10 when you discover a new trigger, a new layer to your mind that needs help.
Right.
So you do the work and you bring it down, and then you'll discover another trigger.
Mhm. Well, like
And that's
we were talking earlier how a lot of things are formed at a very young age as far
mm,
as our belief systems and our patterns and that things that come up for us. Like that doesn't happen overnight. It does happen over time. And then we become aware that we're noticing, then we have that control over ourselves, that control over our stories to
mhm.
change that by adjusting, course correcting, doing that inner work on our mindset and our energy.
And so when we talk about daily self-care practices, it's ongoing work with the mind, because when you're working with the mind and the mindset, not only you're working with the present and what you're being aware and mindful of now, you're also healing the past and you're preparing for the future. Um, so
Deep work in ancestral healing.
it goes, and then let's talk about past lives. Let's open that box. Rabbit
Stay
hole,
tuned for a
anyone?
future episode.
Rabbit hole? Who wants to jump down the rabbit hole? Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot to the mind. So, I think for me, if I was giving advice to people, and what I do for myself is stay away from toxic things where you have the choice. Stay away from it. If people just don't vibe with you, you don't have to do anything in that sense. Like, just recognize it and do what you can, because toxic people, toxic events, stay away from that. And then the affirmations, because it's about our identity, how we identify our being. I am is so important for our mind that, yeah, it's like laying down the ground where you put on your pants, you put on your shirt, you go to work. You also have to put your mindset on. All part of getting dressed.
Evolution of awareness. Like, I really had to give myself permission to have my own voice, kinder and somewhat more vocal than my ego in a positive way. And there are times, like, admittedly so, I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's an evolution of awareness, an evolution of mindset, and giving myself permission that it's okay. Some of that stuff can be ingrained, you know, for
Deep.
so long and so deep that you are going to do work. Like, it could be a year, it could be 6 months, it could be 3 years, and
Oh, yeah.
something will come up and you'll be like, now I'm wiser and I have the tools that are within my wheelhouse to like totally navigate this. I'm a much better emotional maturity standpoint,
Yeah.
if you will.
Emotional intelligence. It's EIs,
Yeah.
the IQ, the quotient is so important. And I think it's now CEOs and such are starting to recognize the importance of that, as opposed to what's on your, like, having transcripts at the best universities and best courses and top grades does not mean you're the best employee or you're the best at leadership or management. Um, it's that EQ and doing the work on your mindset that will set you apart.
Absolutely.
And we don't teach it in
People
school.
gravitate. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the things.
Well, I laugh when they say we're introducing yoga in school. I'm like, that's great.
And meditation.
But for me, that would be a nightmare. I couldn't do yoga as a kid. I have like the worst. I worked with a personal trainer, stretching for I think a year. We did stretches. We didn't work out. We did stretching, and my flexibility didn't increase. And we did strength training based on flexibility. He's like, some people are flexible, some people are not. Like, you're not.
I'm giggling because I'm clumsy.
Yeah.
I fall gracefully. No.
So as long as like the
fall
schools
a
are
lot.
introducing yoga and mindset work, I think that's a bonus. It's just recognizing yoga can be triggering to people. Like,
Yeah, it
you know,
can.
I think they should do mindset, like kickboxing. I was great at kickboxing. Kickboxing and mindset work can go hand in hand. So I think, teaching kids and bringing in mindset work, regardless of, yoga, and those are great. Before somebody goes, yoga is wonderful. Yes, I know. It's not for everyone. Um, I think mindset should be taught from a young age. Young age. So, because it's a lifelong pursuit. Now, most of us are like in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, going, suddenly becoming aware we can love ourselves. We can create our own reality, and we have a say in how things can be.
We have a different voice
Yeah.
now than we did years ago.
Yeah. So definitely it's a having a daily self-care practice for
Mhm.
your mind can be simple, like affirmations, going for a walk, raising your vibration and being mindful, staying away from toxic people. Those basic practices, if you start doing something like that, even choosing one of them, you're a step ahead, step ahead. And then passing on to younger generations as well is, I think, key as well. And I think that's why we want to do this podcast, is because it's it's a time now where people have the ability, they just need to know about it. They can. They have the ability to can, as before they didn't know. There was an information gap. And the more of us like
Thanks
that,
for figuring it out. Yeah.
thumbs up. Yeah. So yeah, do you have anything else to say about mind and mindset, tangents?
Oh, my tangent is always spend time in nature. It like resets you so quickly. And oh my gosh, there's so much we can receive in nature for our mindset, for our mind, for our energy. It's just like, it's really amazing. Um, so many gifts in nature. Um, like my favorite thing to do is to step outside and take a chill. You know,
Yeah.
go explore and see how many different bird songs can I hear, or do I notice, any feathers that's a sign from, my angels that, I have somebody visiting me, somebody thinking of me, somebody sending me a hug. Um, so that boosts my mood, my mindset. Um, watching squirrels chase each other, it gives me a giggle. That totally shifts my
Oh,
mindset. If I'm in a
laughing.
funk,
Yeah.
just the funny things. A blue jay squawking at a squirrel because, he got to that little mushroom or the acorn first, or um, the joy a chipmunk sees when he's discovered a little cache of, sunflower seeds somewhere that he forgot
Yeah.
he buried 2 weeks ago. Just little things like that. The beauty, of the blossoms or the honeybees, the freedom that they have to go
Mhm.
where they want, so anyway, that's me.
No, I totally agree. I listen to often on YouTube, the, what is it, 428 or 432 something hertz frequency,
Mm.
the Earth's
Oh, yeah.
frequency,
Hmm.
um, the grounding, the binaural beats.
Hmm.
Uh, I find that calms me and centers not only my body, but resets my mind. I have it on in the background sometimes when I'm doing work, because I
Mhm.
find maybe for a peace of mind, it clears the energy around me and it feels like, because your thoughts are a vibration and your thoughts are triggered by mindset, or they're framed by your mindset. So what actions you take start as a vibration. So I always go back to that source. Like everything is vibration for me. Like you'll find throughout this podcast, I will always bring everything back to vibration. Here she goes
Because
again.
it's energy, right?
Yeah.
It's the sound of, yeah, it's the sound of energy, the vibration. It's just like, I can
Yeah.
see it. It's that humming. It's a vibrational tuning, a vibrational connection, if you will.
Yeah. So there we go. I feel complete talking
Yeah.
about mindset. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Um, oh, God. I love our
So
time together. It's just so much fun.
yeah, we're getting more comfortable the more and more we do these things. So what I just want to share is join our Facebook community, everyone. Before we sign off today, two things. Join our Facebook community, because we will be offering freebie stuff in the files eventually, because we're working on content. And we're also doing random Facebook Live, so you can connect with us and ask us questions or leave us questions. So head on over to our free Facebook group, Wise Women Podcasting. And second of all, our next YouTube will be out in a couple of weeks, because we do it every other week. And it will be on daily self care practices for the spirit or soul. So you can check out that one. That's going to really get into the fun woo woo stuff for us. So, yes, please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that fun stuff, and join us and leave us some amazing comments so we know what to bring to you next time. So, thank you very much, everyone. Take care.